I poured 3 liters of water down my throat, just to occupy the last bit of space in my stomach. Because in my past life, my younger brother could transfer all the calories he ate onto me. He smiled and ate heartily in front of the camera, becoming a big eater streamer with an incredible appetite, while I grew so fat at 300 pounds that I gasped just by walking. I cried and begged my fiancée to believe me, but she pushed my hand away in disgust. You're just jealous that your brother is naturally thin no matter how much he eats. Stop using such ridiculous excuses to justify your own laziness. Later, earning massive traffic, died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. Opening my eyes again, I returned to the day my brother just signed the contract to become a food streamer. At this moment in the living room, my brother Boda was holding a contract, looking very happy. Mom, Dad, I did it! Penguin Media saw my potential. They want to promote me as the #1 in the food section. A huge smile bloomed on my parents' faces, as expected of my son, eating so much since childhood without gaining weight. This talent should be shown to the whole country. Don't worry, Boda. The family will fully support you. My fiancé, Liu Ruyan, also stood aside. Her gaze towards Boda was filled with undisguised admiration and affection. She stepped forward and intimately rubbed Boda's head. Boda, I knew you could do it. It's all thanks to my brother. If he hadn't accompanied me to eat so much since we were kids, I wouldn't have developed such a good appetite. Instantly, everyone's eyes focused on me. My father's praise turned into a scolding for Yacheng. You should learn from your brother. Look at how fat you've become. You two were carved from the same mold. How can your bodies be so different? If you had any willpower, it wouldn't be so embarrassing for Liu Ruyan to take you out. Liu Ruyan's look toward me was full of loathing. I lowered my eyes and clenched my fists. The 300-pound weight, the suffocation of acute myocardial infarction, the piercing siren of the ambulance, those painful memories were deeply etched into my soul. In my past life, it was at this moment that I tried to explain this bizarre truth to them. I told them, every bite of high-calorie food Boda ate eventually turned into the fat growing on my body. Not a single person believed me. They only thought I was crazy, becoming unrecognizable due to jealousy. This time, I won't do such a stupid thing again. I slowly looked up. Brother, congratulations. Boda's smile stiffened for a moment. He didn't expect that I wouldn't burst into tears of grievance, like I used to, after a few words of blame from our parents. Liu Ruyan was also a bit surprised, but she quickly attributed it to me being sensible. She walked over and looked down at me. Yacheng, it's best if you can see reason. Boda's career has just started. As an older brother, you should support him, instead of causing trouble for him. To celebrate Boda's signing, tonight we're going to Yuping for a feast. With a grand wave of his hand, father booked the most expensive private restaurant in the city. Boda immediately cheered. Thanks, Dad. I want to eat their Buddha jumps over the wall. And the Dongpo pork hock. He called out a string of over 10 greasy, heavy flavored dishes. With every name he shouted, my heart tightened. My brother challenged himself to eat 100 Big Macs in a live stream. In my past life, it was this celebratory banquet that caused my weight to surge by 5 pounds, while I, due to acute myocardial infarction, and from that day on, Boda's streaming career went smoothly, while my health was dragged completely into the abyss. I looked at his excited face. My heart felt like ice. Boda, in this life, you are the one who should taste this feeling. The banquet table was covered in dishes. Boda's eyes were glowing. Wow! This pork hock is stewed so tender. This crab roe is so fragrant. He praised the food with exaggerated delight as he ate, leading Mom, Dad, and Liu Ruyan to look at him with beaming smiles. Mom lovingly gave him a large piece of pork hock. Liu Ruyan also thoughtfully peeled a fragrant shrimp for him. The three of them were a picture of family harmony. While I sat there like a redundant decoration at the table, Boda glanced at me from the corner of his eye as he ate, seeing that I wasn't eating anything. He turned to our parents and Liu Ruyan and said with fake concern, Brother, why aren't you eating? Are you still angry about what Mom and Dad said today? Don't blame them. They're doing it for your own good. You really do need to manage your physique. Instantly, the warm atmosphere at the table froze. Yacheng? What kind of temper are you throwing now? The family is trying to have a happy meal. Who are you showing that long face to? Boda is sensible enough to advise you, and yet you're still ungrateful and refusing to eat. Are you trying to go on a hunger strike? Look at all that fat on you. Skipping 2 meals won't kill you. Liu Ruyan's gaze was even colder than ice. Ya Cheng, can't you be a bit more mature? Voda is about to become a public figure. As his family, can you stop being so childish? Every accusation was identical to my past life. But I didn't fight back. I just clutched my chest and let out a suppressed cry of pain. My body swayed, and my face instantly turned deathly pale. Liu Ruyan asked impatiently, "What's wrong now?" My chest feels so tight. I can't breathe. My stomach is bloating so much. It hurts so much. I spoke while making gagging motions. This appearance was exactly like my symptoms before the heart attack. In my past life, for the first time, panic appeared on Jiboda's face. "Weren't you fine just a moment ago? You're not faking it, are you?" My parents were also startled by me. I had no strength left to speak. My breathing became increasingly rapid instead. Liu Ruyan looked at my pale face. Her eyes shifted from impatience to a flicker of doubt. He doesn't look like he's faking it. Stop eating, go to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, Jiboda didn't say a word. He kept staring at me from the side. He couldn't understand. Clearly, he was the one eating. Why would I suddenly show signs of indigestion? Meanwhile, I kept my eyes closed, feeling the oil and calories inside my body. Arriving at the hospital, I was sent straight to the emergency room. I insisted on having the most comprehensive checkup. While waiting for the results, Liu Ruyan and my parents waited outside. Mom's patience was clearly running thin. I think he's just making a mountain out of a molehill. It must be low blood sugar from his recent dieting. When the results come out and say he's fine, just you wait. He only knows how to cause trouble. Ruyan didn't speak, but her furrowed brow said everything. Only Jiboda had darting, unsettled eyes. He was afraid that something beyond his understanding. Please come with me. High blood lipids and blood sugar levels are also way over the limit. This sentence stunned all 3 people in the hallway and confusion. Before long, a nurse came out with a stack of report sheets. They followed the nurse into the doctor's office. My son is only 22 years old. Who are the family members of Jia Cheng? Not long after, and there's heart. I'm sorry. My parents inside the office immediately surrounded her. How is this possible? The nurse's expression was very serious. My parents and Liu Ruyan walked out looking soul-crushed. What? Severe fatty liver? The patient's condition isn't good. The way they looked at me, Jiboda also rushed forward, asking anxiously, "How is it?" Mom's lips were trembling, unable to say a word for a long time. Liu Ruyan walked up to me step by step. "Yacheng, what exactly is going on?" The doctor said your physical data is like a 50-year-old middle-aged man who has binged for years. But you clearly didn't eat anything tonight. I don't know either. I've been controlling my diet lately. I only eat water-boiled vegetables and exercise for an hour every day. I don't know why my body has become like this. I'm so scared, I said, while squeezing out a few tears at just the right moment. My words plunged Liu Ruyan into deeper confusion. She had seen with her own eyes that I barely ate at night. How could a person with a normal diet suddenly produce such terrifying medical exam results? The data was completely illogical. Just then, Jiboda suddenly spoke up. His voice was tearful and full of grievance. "Brother, have you been eating behind our backs? I know you're upset, jealous that I can eat without getting fat, but you can't ruin your own body just to take revenge on us." His words were a masterpiece of green tea manipulation. He cleared himself completely, while pinning the label of liar back on me. Sure enough, the gaze of my parents and Liu Ruyan wavered again. It must be that. I knew he couldn't control his own mouth. He must have eaten so much junk food in secret. Yacheng, oh Yacheng, you've truly disappointed us. Liu Ruyan's gaze towards me turned cold once more. Yacheng, I really misjudged you, to seek attention, and to make your brother look bad. You actually resorted to self-harm and lies. You are too wicked. I looked at their faces, feeling not a single ripple in my heart. I knew it would be like this all along. Twisting black and white is their favorite trick. I didn't argue further. I just looked up at Boda. He was hiding behind Mom, looking at me provocatively with a victor's stance. I smiled at him silently. Don't be in a hurry, Jiboda. The best is yet to come. After returning from the hospital, The atmosphere at home dropped to freezing point. My parents ordered me to be grounded, confiscating my phone and wallet, saying they would completely eliminate the possibility of me eating snacks. Liu Ruyan even announced that until we both calmed down, she wouldn't see me again. They thought this would trap me, but they didn't know the weapon I needed most had been hanging around my neck all along. It was a small white jade pendant, given to us when Jiboda and I were born by our grandmother. In the past life, Jiboda said he liked the style of my jade more, and nagged me into swapping with him. From then on, the calories from his binging began to flow endlessly into me. I didn't know until the day I died that this jade was the core of the whole bizarre event. Having been reborn, the first thing I did was check my pendant. It was still hanging safely around my neck, while the one around Jiboda's neck belonged to him. I guessed that these two jades were like a receiver and a transmitter. And now, I need to find the way to activate and reverse it. The incident at the hospital gave me some ideas. At the hospital entrance, I pretended to be unsteady and intentionally grabbed Jiboda's arm while my palm was tightly clutching the jade. Perhaps physical contact combined with my strong will is the key to activating it. I need more opportunities to verify this. The opportunity came soon. Jiboda's live streaming debut was postponed because of the scene I caused. But Penguin Media didn't give up on him. They planned a new, even grander live stream for him, challenging himself to finish 10 tubs of super spicy fire noodles in an hour. For this stream, the company gave him a full makeover and pre-show hype. Various trending topics whetted the netizens' appetite. On the day of the stream, with undisguised smugness on his face, he said, "Brother, make sure you watch my stream carefully later." He walked up to me and looked down at me. The company bought the best recommendation slots for me. After tonight, I'll be a real internet celebrity. But you can only be like this. Locked away in this tiny little room, he leaned in close and lowered his voice, speaking at a volume only the two of us could hear. "Yacheng, you know what? I love seeing you jealous of me, while being unable to do anything about it. The more miserable you are, the more excited I get. Every pound of fat on your body is a medal for my success." I looked up and quietly stared at his wicked face. I didn't say a word, but just as he turned to leave, I suddenly stood up. "Wait, what now?" I walked up to him and reached out my hand, pretending to help him straighten his slightly messy collar. "Your collar is a bit wrinkled." The moment my fingertips touched his collar, my other hand tightly gripped the jade pendant on his chest. An icy sensation surged into my fingertips. I channeled all the hatred from my past and present lives into this very moment. There, I withdrew my hand and smiled nonchalantly. "Good luck with the stream." Jiboda gave me a puzzled look, but seeing nothing out of the ordinary, he turned and walked out. I watched his back and slowly let out a sigh. The reversal should have been successful this time. Then I took out my laptop and clicked into Jiboda's livestream. Jiboda especially came to my room before going live. There were already hundreds of thousands of people online simultaneously. For now it was filled with anticipation and praise for him. Jiboda greeted everyone with a smile and took out 10 tubs of fire noodles stacked like a small mountain. Jiboda spiritedly announced, "Today I'm going to challenge myself to finish all of these." In the blink of an eye, he finished the first tub. He ate with such relish, showing not even a hint of struggle. The comment section was full of amazement. Holy crap! He didn't even blink eating noodles that spicy. This guy's a beast. Is his stomach made of iron? Liu Ruyan even gifted 10 carnivals. Drawing a wave of "sister-in-law is so beautiful" screams in the chat. I watched the screen in silence, watching Boda swallow mouthful after mouthful of high oil, high salt, and high-calorie food. But in my own body, that greasy feeling didn't appear. Instead, I felt an unprecedented lightness and comfort. I could even feel the fat that had been piled on my abdomen for years, seeming to heat up slightly, then slowly dissipate. It works! It really works! My gaze returned to the screen. Jiboda had already finished his third tub of noodles. Sweat began to bead on his forehead, though he claimed it was from the spiciness. But I could see clearly, it wasn't heat sweat, but a greasy cold sweat. His face also began to take on an unnatural, bloated look. By the 5th tub, his speed slowed down significantly. He started drinking water incessantly, and the smile on his face became stiff. Discordant voices began to appear in the chat. Is it just me, or does Boda look like he's struggling? Yeah, his face looks like it's swollen up a size. Just a trick of the light, probably the spice. It wasn't a trick of the light. I could see that his clothes were already starting to get tight. When he reached the 7th tub, something unexpected suddenly happened. He suddenly clutched his mouth, and a massive, churning sound erupted from his stomach. The sound echoed throughout the entire livestream room. Everyone heard it. Chibota's face turned pale instantly. He tried to force down the nausea. But physical instincts cannot be controlled. By willpower alone, he stumbled out of the camera's view. Immediately after, violent sounds of vomiting came from the stream. The wave disrupted the entire room, and after 3 seconds of silence, it completely exploded. Did I hear that right? The streamer vomited? Challenging 10 tubs but puked at 7? You call this a big eater. Those trending topics were bought, right? His persona crumbled too fast. Insults and mockery flooded the screen like a tide. Chibota's first official livestream ended as a disastrous failure. I turned off the computer and let out a long sigh of relief. When he reached the 7th tub, the change suddenly occurred. He suddenly covered his mouth, and a massive churning sound erupted from his stomach. The sound spread through the entire stream. Everyone heard it. Chibota's face went white instantly. He tried to suppress the nausea, but the body's natural reaction cannot be controlled by will. He stumbled out of the frame. Immediately after, the sound of violent vomiting came from the stream. The stream was cut off. After 3 seconds of silence, the chat completely exploded. Did I hear that right? The streamer puked? Puked after only 7 tubs during a challenge. And he calls himself a big eater? He must have bought those trending spots. His persona collapsed way too fast. Curses and mockery flooded the screen like a tide. Chibota's first official stream ended in a total disaster. After turning off the computer, I took a long, deep breath. My body felt a long-lost lightness. After the streaming disaster, Chibota's account lost over 100,000 followers overnight. The comment section was full of people calling him a fraud. That day, I paced through the living room with confidence, continuously muttering useless under my breath. My mother held Chibota, crying in heartbreak. Chibota sobbed breathlessly. Mom! I don't know what happened. I was clearly able to eat more, but my stomach suddenly felt so bloated and painful. It's all Ya-Chang. He must have done something. He suddenly looked up and glared at me intensely. He touched me before I went live. He must have sabotaged me. My mother immediately rushed toward me, raising her hand to strike. You jinx! I knew it was you. You can't stand to see your brother succeed. You must have ruined his future. I didn't dodge. I just looked at her calmly. Mom, do you have evidence? My mother's hand froze in midair. Right. Where was the evidence? I only touched his collar. How could that be evidence? Should they tell everyone I have superpowers and used my mind to make him puke? Who would believe that? My mother was left speechless. Father roared. What more evidence do we need? With all these troubles at home, which one isn't related to you? First the checkup, then the live stream. Ya-Chang, you are a disaster. Just then, Liu Ruyan arrived. Chibota saw her as his savior and threw himself into her arms, crying. Sister Ruyan, my career's finished. It's all my brother's fault. Liu Ruyan held him and comforted him softly. But her gaze toward me was full of cold disappointment and finality. Ya-Chang, let's talk. Forget it, she called me to the balcony. Ya-Chang, let's call off the engagement. She didn't hesitate at all. There was not a single ripple in my heart. I even felt like laughing. She was exactly the same in my past life. At the moment I needed her most, she abandoned me without mercy. Why, look at yourself right now. Fat and lazy, and narrow-minded, viciously jealous of your own biological brother. He is so hardworking and full of sunshine, giving his all for his dreams. You don't deserve me at all, much less the position of the future master of the G family. She spoke with such righteousness, as if I were the one and only unpardonable sinner. I must have been blind before, to think you were quiet and sensible. Now I realize that wasn't being quiet. It was gloominess. There is an ugly monster living inside you that can't stand to see anyone doing better than you. Ya-Chang, you make me sick. After her final sentence, she turned and left, without a hint of lingering affection. I watched her back and suddenly spoke. Liu Ruyan, you will regret this. What you're giving up today is the only chance you'll ever have in this lifetime to get close to the truth. Liu Ruyan's shoulder stiffened for a second, but she still didn't look back. In the living room, Boda was still sobbing. Liu Ruyan walked over and said to him tenderly, Boda, don't be afraid. You have me. If that streaming company is no good, we'll just switch to another one. My dad has a friend who is a director at Shangxi Entertainment. I'll take you to see him tomorrow. Boda's eyes lit up. Shangxi Entertainment. That was one of the top entertainment giants in the country. More than 10 times the size of Penguin Media. Really, Sister Ruyan? Of course it's real. However, her tone shifted, and her gaze became sharp. To completely solve that problem, their gazes, now look at Boda, simultaneously landed on me. I sneered in my heart. Solve me, huh? I'd like to see just how you plan to solve me. The next day, Boda and Liu Ruyan went to Shangxi Entertainment, while I was watched even more strictly by my parents. They even installed a complex lock outside my room. Other than meal deliveries, I wasn't allowed to step out. Boda had clearly thought of something too. I enjoyed the peace and quiet. Using the time to study the pendant's ability in detail, I discovered that reversing the ability consumed my own mental energy. I felt a wave of exhaustion every time I used it. Furthermore, the reversal effect seemed related to the distance between me and Boda. The closer the distance, the stronger the effect. If I only used objects to trigger it indirectly, the effect was significantly reduced and delayed. Like the fire noodle stream. It only took effect when Boda reached the 7th tub. If I had been right next to him then, he probably would have vomited after the first bite. I needed a chance to be in close proximity and in long-term contact with him, preferably in a high-profile setting. I wanted to ruin his reputation beyond any hope of recovery. In the evening, Boda and Liu Ruyan returned, both their faces glowing with joy. Dad! Shangxi Entertainment has signed me. They said my can't-get-fat constitution is very buzzworthy. Quote, quote. And they're preparing to create a custom reality show for me. I will help you get whatever you want. What show? Extreme Calories. The show's team will invite nutrition experts and fitness coaches. We must think of a way to monitor Boda's diet and physical data throughout the process. They want to prove to the entire internet that Boda is the chosen one. A true calorie engines. The live location for the first episode is set at the city center's Wanda Plaza. They'll even invite 100 audience members for interaction. Inside my room, my heart raced. Wanda Plaza. Live broadcast. 100 audience members? Isn't this the stage I've been dreaming of? He walked to my bedroom door and said through it in a boasting tone, Brother, did you hear that? To completely clear me of the suspicion of faking it, this live stream will use the most precise body composition analyzer throughout. It will monitor all my physical data in real time, and it will even be projected on the square's big screen. I'll see how you try to sabotage me this time. He paused, his tone turning cold. Oh, by the way, Liu Ruyan also convinced the production team to invite you as a special guest to witness my success on site. She said she wants you to see with your own eyes how I will trample you under my feet as I head toward the peak. You must come, okay? My dear brother. Their triumphant laughter echoed from outside the door. I leaned against the door and slowly closed my eyes. Heaven is truly helping me. Boda, Liu Ruyan. I really like this stage you've prepared for me. I will give you, and the entire audience, a performance that will never be forgotten. The live stream was scheduled for the weekend. That day, my parents escorted me to Wanda Plaza. Like a prisoner being transported. Thousands of people gathered. When Liu Ruyan saw me, she just gave a contemptuous glance. Ya Cheng, open your eyes and take a good look. See just how big the gap is between you and Boda. I ignored her and just quietly watched the stage. Soon the protagonist, Boda, made a grand entrance amidst the cheers of the crowd. He looked full of confidence, with a bright smile. Hello everyone, I am Boda. Following the process, he first had to undergo an initial body data measurement. He stepped onto that precise instrument, and soon, a series of data appeared on the big screen. Height, 168 centimeters. Weight, 45 kilogram. Body fat rate, 18.2%. All the data was perfect. The nutrition experts on site were also amazed by these figures, calling it a, quote, metabolic constitution seen once in a century. Next was the main event of the day. The Extreme Calorie Challenge. The staff pushed out today's main course. A mountain of calories piled up from burgers, fried chicken, fries, and cola. According to expert estimates, the total energy of this food mountain exceeded 20,000 calories. The intake for an average adult male for an entire week is roughly this much. What Jiboda had to do was to eat it all within 2 hours. So the challenge starts now. With the host's command, Jiboda picked up a beef burger and began his performance. He ate fast, yet elegantly. Every bite looked like he was filming a food commercial. He interacted with the host while eating, appearing at ease. Time passed by the minute, and the food on the table decreased at a visible rate. Yet Jiboda seemed unchanged. He was still slim and full of energy. The real-time data on the screen showed that his weight had even dropped by 0.1 kilograms due to body water depletion and temperature. The whole place erupted. Oh my God, what kind of divine constitution is this? He really doesn't get fat. Incredible. My parents looked on with immense pride. Liu Ruyan looked at me smugly. See that? Yachong, this is the truth. This is science. Your ridiculous lies are fragile in the face of facts. However, my eyes remained locked on Jiboda on the stage. I gripped the jade pendant in my pocket. The time is almost here. Just as Jiboda picked up the last piece of pizza, I walked onto the stage. My action immediately caught everyone's attention. Who is that? He's so fat, he looks like Jiboda's brother. The security guards wanted to come up and stop me, but Liu Ruyan gave them a look, signaling them not to worry. She probably thought that I was going on stage to publicly repent and apologize to Jiboda. What she wanted to see was exactly this wretched and ugly state of mine. I walked onto the stage and stopped not far from Jiboda, just about 3 steps away. Jiboda was stunned when he saw me, but that was quickly replaced by a smug look. Brother, why did you come up here? Have you thought it through? Are you ready to apologize to me in front of the national audience? I looked at him and smiled. No, I came up because I want to give you a gift. As I spoke, I reached out, not to touch him, but to point at the precision instrument under his feet. Jiboda, do you dare to stand on it and take the test one more time right now? My words left everyone stunned. Jiboda's face changed instantly. He subconsciously took a step back. You! What nonsense are you talking about? I am in the middle of a challenge. Why should I take a test? Liu Ruyan, below the stage, also frowned and shouted sternly, Ye Cheng, stop messing around and come down. I ignored her. I just looked at Jiboda, approaching him step by step. My hand had been tightly clutching that jade pendant, which had already started to turn burning hot. I poured all my mental energy and hatred entirely into it. This time, I didn't want to delay. I wanted an immediate explosion. What, you don't dare? Aren't you a calorie-burning king? Aren't you naturally unable to get fat? A mere 20,000 calories should be nothing to you, right? Or is it that all the things you ate? I deliberately paused for a moment, then patted my own bloated body suggestively. Jiboda's pupils shrank violently, and he screamed sharply, Shut up! You lunatic! His loss of composure made the atmosphere on site turn eerie. The audience began to whisper, What's going on? What did his brother mean by that sentence just now? I didn't understand it either. It seems like he's hinting at something. The media lenses were also all focused on us. Liu Ruyan could finally sit still no longer. She rushed onto the stage, trying to pull me down. Ye Cheng, have you had enough? Just as her hand was about to touch me, the anomaly occurred. Jiboda, on the stage, suddenly let out a piercing, miserable scream. His face showed an expression of extreme pain and horror. My stomach is so bloated. He bent over, and his body began to tremble violently under everyone's terrified gaze. He was like a balloon, being rapidly inflated, expanding frantically all over his body. In just a dozen seconds, he became a person even fatter than me. Everyone was stunned into silence by this eerie and terrifying scene unfolding before them. The data on the big screen began to jump wildly. Weight, 45 kilograms. 60 kilogram, 150 kilogram. Body fat rate, 18%. 35%, 55%. The final number stopped. Weight, 258.8 kilograms. Body fat rate, 78.9%. A shocking number. That was enough to be life-threatening. Jiboda collapsed on the ground, screaming like a madman. No! This isn't me. This isn't real. Give me back my body. Give it back. Angry curses from the audience below rose one after another, calling him a liar. Liu Ruyan was also completely stunned. In her eyes, there was a fear and confusion she had never felt before. She remembered the words I had said to her before. The truth. So this was the truth. Her lips trembled as she pointed at me, unable to say a word for a long time. As for me, I just stood quietly in the middle of the chaotic stage, feeling an unprecedented lightness in my body. I looked down at myself, my waistline clearly a size smaller. I smiled, a smile so bright and so satisfying. Jiboda, do you still like these medals of success on your body? My voice wasn't loud, yet it was clearly transmitted through the microphone to the entire square. Jiboda's wailing stopped abruptly. He lifted a face whose features were already blurred by fat, staring at me intently. It's you! You did this! You gave my fat back to me. I slowly walked up to him, realizing it only now. It's too late. Didn't you like binge eating? Didn't you like seeing me in pain? From today on, every bite you eat will grow back on your own body, exactly as it is. Enjoy it. My dear brother, enjoy these 300 pounds of glory that truly belong to you. After speaking, I stood up and didn't look at him again, walking off the stage, step by step. Liu Ruyan seemed to suddenly snap out of it. She rushed over and grabbed my wrist. Yi Cheng, what exactly is going on? Tell me, that's not real, right? She didn't want to believe that the Jiboda she had always pampered was actually a thief who used bizarre means to steal someone else's body. Even more, she didn't want to believe that the fiancé she had always loathed and spurned was the innocent victim. I looked at her face, which was written all over with regret, and found it utterly laughable. Liu Ruyan, I told you that you would regret it. Now the game has begun, and you've even lost the right to be a bystander. I shook off her hand and walked into the chaotic crowd without looking back. Behind me were Jiboda's desperate roars, Liu Ruyan's painful murmurs, and the clamor of the entire world. But my world